Hi. Welcome, everyone. I want to, first of all, congratulations to both of you on the film. I want to start by asking, what was it about this script or this project that you said, I need to do this?
For me, it was Mrs. Sandy right here and Susanna, and I mean, the script was just amazing. The opportunity to, I guess, be a part of a family that's so diverse, that was a wonderful opportunity.
How about you, Sandy?
I had actually read the script. Susanna and I realized we'd both read the script about 10 years ago. And it was really intriguing, but I just kept thinking, I don't know how to identify with this. And we realized they had to have done some work, because the next time we read it, it was incredibly emotional for me. It might be because I now have 2 kids, but it, I mean, what Trey said, about family, I think in the context of something that is hopefully an entertaining ride, you get deep philosophical conversation, thoughts, fears, and you don't normally get those 2 things together. And I think challenging what people think of as family in this day and age, when you turn on the television and it's all about apart, this is about forcing people together and seeing the best in each other. And I think I loved that it was within a thriller, which I think people enjoy seeing and going on that ride, but leaving you with hope. I don't know, you guys. I can't really read your faces, it's just the front row, I can do.
How much was that talked about on the set? How much did Susanna kind of talk to you about this family of people? I love the scenes when all of you were in the house. And
How about we just do one at a time?
Okay, that makes sense. She didn't speak too much about it. I think it was just inherent in the script, and then everybody kind of just, I guess, followed suit and took hold of that.
I like the way you hold your microphone. It's kind of like, that's
Yo.
when we were filming. And I'm using it like a magic wand. Something that someone brought up earlier was that Susanna, like Mallory, had to, I call her the mix master, because she chose everyone very carefully and she created an environment that was best for the film. She had to nurture in a very tough way to get exactly what she wanted, and we sort of fell in place. We all got along really well. She picked people from so many different walks of life, and we would just get and go, oh my God, what have you done? And she saw that as possibly being damaging to some of the characters, so she would sort of pull people apart, set up situations where someone would have to go rehearse, so we didn't get, the people who shouldn't be super close at the very beginning didn't get super close. It naturally happened by the end anyway, right. But she was the mix master on that.
that's interesting. I mean, you've heard so many stories about that with directors who keep certain people apart because they're afraid that it'll sort of seep into the performance. I would say that the converse of that is the 2 of you have such good chemistry. There's such a tender, supportive relationship that you both had. Did you know each other before, or was that something that Susanna brought you together? And
I mean, I think, well, I had the privilege of rehearsing with Sandy, I guess, 3 weeks or so prior to shooting. So we had a little bit of time, but I really just think she's a beautiful soul, obviously, we all know, but she's just a beautiful person. So it's easy, or at least for me, it's kind of easy to try to follow suit and follow somebody like that, or share space with someone like that.
And you can't make it up. I mean, you can't. You can get along really well in real life and something doesn't translate. And I think part of it was the script and what it didn't say, and the difficulty of the situation, that people have to rely on each other. But when Susanna and I met Trey, and we sat down, and I'd saw him in Moonlight, but I'd met him for the first time at that lunch. I literally left after, all I did was try and just fill the air with a lot of conversation, because all he did was listen. And I wasn't used to a human being listening. And I left there going, if this is,
because you're a mom.
Because I'm me and I don't know how to shut up. But I fill air because I'm incredibly shy and introverted. So I just keep joking until I find make everyone feel on the same level. But I realized that the way that I saw a father, what I thought a father should be, and a good man, was right there at that table. And it scared me that we might not be able to get him. And that's never happened to me before. And I go, I don't know how else to represent the person the way they are written in this story is usually you go, I don't know who that is or who's going to have to act that. He doesn't have to act it because that's who his mama raised. And she raised an extraordinary human being. And I wanted that as a representation for myself, my family, everyone else in the world to know it exists, but it's existing in this heartbreaking scenario. And I think that makes it more powerful. That allows you to see that goodness in a much stronger way than if we just had done a romantic comedy or something.
Did you know you had the job at that meal?
We did.
I did.
What is your go-to place as actors to completely freak yourselves out? Because when you were watching this as viewers, it's the whole time you're like I feel like I watched it, my shoulders were up like this the whole time. I was so tense.
You know, I really think, I don't know what it was, but just being on set, there was just such thick tension. And again, it's Susanne probably just made this, she did just make this wonderful ambiance that really just made us all kind of just a little bit on edge, which is, I guess, perfect for the film.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like how so?
For me, it's just impossible because it's a feeling for me. I feel, I guess, but it was just something she did in the way that she just moved, the frenetic, how just, you know, it's just how she is. Mm-hmm. It just made me on edge a little bit the whole time. So that just worked for me.
Yeah.
How about you, Sandy? Is there because you have so much, you're in such a state from start to finish of heightened anxiety.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there were layers. Yes, inside the house, there was this weird crackling, and the environment, you don't know how to explain it, but it was definitely Susanna and subject matter and everyone's part. But the second half of this film, I was completely blind. I had them make the blindfold. Only when I had the children did I have them take out one layer so I could see outlines of things, because I never wanted to put their lives at risk. But you can't pretend like you are blind and run through a forest, honestly. I said, if branches hit me, let them hit me. If something, I ran into the whole joke was poor Roberto, our Steadicam operator, got so good at getting out of my way because I would switch gears and, you know, because that's what you would naturally do. And then finally my face just met with the mat box and the blood, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then I was like, oh, it's fine. But I think that level of, as an actor, not being able to use your eyes, having two children, and constantly putting myself in a state of, if these were my children, would I cut myself off so much from them emotionally in order to keep them alive? And the answer is yes, but I've never had to do that. And then just losing. It's all about loss, and how do you stay hopeful when you just feel like there's nothing but loss? And something about children makes you feel hopeful, and his character is the one who's connected to something bigger and truly hopeful, and that was weird to sort of put because I think I'm relatively hopeful when it comes to everything else except for my kids. I think doomsday every day, and I'm a reminder to myself every night going, you gotta be lighter. It's not all scary. You have to show them joy and light and fun and override all the parental fears you have in life, you know. But he naturally has that as Trey, and he has that as Tom, in that he says you got to give them hope. Right. And I think that's really indicative of how we wanted the film to end. You want to end on something that makes you go, it's gonna be okay. There are people out there that want to help you and that love you and that will take care of you, even if it means risking themselves, you know.
And also maybe it's gonna be okay. It might not be on a macro level, like it's not gonna be okay, everything's not gonna be okay, but in this moment, and to appreciate the small moments of when it's okay. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit, because this is a room of actors, about what it was like, you mentioned it a little bit, to have these blindfolds on? It must have felt like being in acting school and like doing, you know, some like class exercise on some level.
Yeah, it was an exercise every day. I mean, why don't you start with?
I thought it was liberating to not be able to see, honestly, because I don't know why. It was just exciting to try and, you know, move through life in a different way, because, you know, I've been seeing my whole life. So
was it hard
for you? It wasn't. Well, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it wasn't. It was hard. It was hard. It was hard, but it was exciting. So when something is exciting to me, it's not really, because I'm learning a little bit, you know. So Yeah.
Well, I just think of how much actors rely on their eyes
To tell
a
the
story,
story.
to evoke something, and you don't have that.
That's one of the scenes which I hated Susanna so much on the day was, she knows it. And it was a scene that wasn't supposed to be shot for 2 days. And we all know that we look at the script, you go, I'm mentally prepared to do X, Y, and Z. This big scene is coming. I'm gonna pace myself out. We have a lot of things to do. And then 2 days before that scene, it's a scene when have boy in the thing, and I have to call back to the girl and convince her with my voice to come back to me after I've been so hard on her. She goes, I think I'm gonna do this scene after lunch. I went, I'm sorry? She says, yeah, and I said, but no, it's not scheduled till this date. She goes, no, I feel we would do it, and if it doesn't work, I would do it again. And I was like, no, fuck no, we're not doing it today. I was like, I don't have, because I know I memorized it, but I didn't take the time, and she did it on purpose. She did it on purpose because she saw me working because you don't have your eyes. I couldn't use my arms. I couldn't use all the things that I knew were my tools to convey something. All I had was my voice. And that's the same thing the scene was about. That little girl had to hear something different in my voice in order to come back. And she did that on purpose. And I hated her, and then I loved her for it at the end of it.
Well, I was gonna say, do you think that because of that, you turned in a performance that you might not have done otherwise?
Probably. I was really angry, and then I got really scared. I got really scared as an actor because I was like, I know I work hard, but I have to work extra hard today, and that anger and that fear of not getting to that emotion, I think was probably laced in there to a certain degree, and I was really angry at her because I was like, I don't want to let everyone down. We're in the middle of nowhere. We have no cell service. There's no toilet. I have to pee. It's all these things. I have these children, and you have to navigate kids. I had to basically navigate children when you're trying to do a performance, and Julian was like, I'm hungry, I need chocolate. I'm like, but that was Julian, like, where's my X Games? And it's like, so you're wrangling this sweet child, but you have to say to them, I have a moment right now, just do me a favor, I'm just gonna hold you, you can be right here, you can talk, but talk this way. And to little girl, I was like, just come towards my voice and my hand. Like, you sort of have to talk to the kids, and it was just, but again, she knew exactly what she was doing. And yeah, it's scary. It's all scary.
Trevante, I read something a while ago. I think that Barry Jenkins on Moonlight did something similar to you with maybe that, like, the phone call that you got, was that the first time you had heard Andre's voice? Or
Yes, the phone call was the first time I had heard Andre's voice.
And then he sprung that on you right before the scene,
absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
I remember thinking that was such wow, that's a smart move.
Yeah. Barry is,
Turns out Barry Jenkins is a good director. Yeah.
He's all right. He's not bad.
So, well, I mean, did you have that same experience of like, okay, panic, but now I'm actually going to turn in this incredible take and this incredible performance? Or were you just like,
no, it was easy. It was easy.
Again, you follow Sandy, and everything is.
You weren't always following me.
I was. I just didn't let you know.
But I think this goes back to what you were saying about the blindfold. You don't know. And I was like, I liked being blind because it does have to work for you. I said, if I wipe out, as long as I'm not injuring anyone, or just let me keep going. Let it be uncomfortable. Let it be. And then I worked with an expert who was not sighted, who literally told me how to see things with my ears. Like, he would walk me through the house. He was blind. He goes, that wall's about 4 feet away. You have a structure across the lawn. Do you have dogs? Do you have animals? What kids' toys is like, there's something small over here. It's like sonar. It was incredible that as I started doing it, I got better and better and better at it. And it was a real gift to be able to work with someone like that. And I said, what is it that you would like to experience in the blind community? He goes, I would like for people to see us as capable as we are. He rides a bike. He runs. He can hear. And I said, so when you're running, do you stumble? He goes, no, it's your body becomes accustomed to feeling with your feet when there's a log or things are elevated, and you learn how to rely on things that we take for granted. I know I do.
And then did you find that as you were acting, like over the course of the duration of the shoot, that you felt more of that, your other senses?
Yeah. That's so. It's really great. Like, walk out into like a field that might have a structure or something. He can hear a fence. I said, when I'm doing this and I'm doing the clicking, because I did this clicking thing that they do to sort of hear things bounce off the wall. That's why we did with the kids, the rocks, that we did in the house. We were like I would be able to hear where their wall was when we were filming. And I would do it, and sometimes I would hit it, and I go, great, let me hit it. That feels more frenetic and a little more uncomfortable, I think, as a viewer.
One of the scenes that was so harrowing for me to watch was in the raft, and when Mallory's saying to the kids, one of you is going to have to open your eyes. And watching that, I mean, I have kids, and it was like, that's Sophie's Choice question, and it was excruciating to watch. How was that for you to play that scene?
It was a bad day. It was a hard day, and because we were literally on a soundstage. That was just a boat on a soundstage, and a couple crew members rocking it, and you're just like, again, the panic as an actor that you're not gonna nail it. And the kids, and sometimes the kids would be there. Half the time they weren't there because they were off in school. And so you had to pick your battles, on when you wanted their reaction, get them while they're there, because they're tiny little kids. They were 5, 5.5, 6. And no parent wants to go there. I'm like, let me die and take care of it. And you go, well, guess what? You can't die, because then you've killed them both. What do you do? And it was really uncomfortable and made me really angry all day. I didn't know how to get out of it. Do you use it? And then I was like, just use the fact that you're really angry and see if that gives something. And it's not pretty. Nobody ever wants to go to that place. But there were a lot of moments of going to that place. And, this whole film was a series of going to that place.
It sure is. I was wondering if you all, with the other cast members too, if you all talked about what the monster force, whatever it is, looked like, and if you all have the same idea of what it is, because we see things and leaves and whatever, but we don't actually see it. So it's in our minds, and I'm curious what you guys think, and if you all talked about it.
I talked about it with a couple of the guys. It was just going back and forth trying to figure out what it would be. And for me, I envisioned like a really, because for me, I guess Ghostbusters was a scary thing to me, and the big. I was when I first, when it was the big, like white fluffy thing was like really scary. So I envisioned.
Was it because it was big and white?
Yes.
Racial tension, people, happening right now.
And but then I thought it was like a big 8-legged, fluffy, white thing.
I like his answer. I think everyone had. My son, who was on set, were you there the day that he was asking everyone what their greatest fear was? Like, he went up and he said, "What is your greatest fear?" And I mean, BD Wong was like, do I have to answer? I said, no, you can go home and think about it. But then Louis came home and said, did he say what his greatest fear was? I told him what mine was. Mine was losing my kids. Anyone stealing and taking and harming my children. I think about that every single moment of my life. And so the look on his face, I was like, but it's not gonna happen. You're just fine. I'm overprotected for that very reason. But everyone had, and it was nice, is it existential? Is it the government? Is it a metaphor for something that we're bringing on ourselves? Is it, and I think to me, it's just the culmination of all these different fears coming from all these different places that can literally manifest themselves into something palpable. I think, and I love that we never really see it because we are blindfolded. We never see it. So how can we have the audience experience it? And you put your own fears on it rather than going, the fluffy white thing. And that was me, by the way, the fluffy white thing. That was a little heavier.
The blindfold was on, you didn't see it.
You didn't know it was me. Susanna was like, you go be the fluffy white thing for Trev. And I was like, Trev. She called him Trev, and we're like, yeah.
How did you answer Sandra's son? Did he ask you?
For me, it's always family. The loss of family members, because that's what's my heart, so yeah.
Was there a scene in particular that was the most challenging for you to, I imagine this was an entire film of challenging scenes. It's not Ghostbusters, it's not a light thing, but
Bird Box.
Right.
It's not Ghostbusters.
You're welcome for the ad campaign. Just saying. Was there one day or even a particular scene that was the hardest for you to kind of get to as an actor?
You know,
Or even the opposite, even one that was the easiest, one that you were like, I totally get this, I can feel this.
nailed this.
most excited was just everything that we
love
did.
scene, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
that.
It's the truth. And in the kitchen, the kissing scene, that was at the top of the shoot.
Be truthful.
Just being honest. But those are scenes I don't necessarily look at things as hard or easy. It's just whether I'm excited or not. And if I'm excited, I just, and I'm always, well, I'm just being honest. And so I was excited.
You gotta appreciate his honesty. That's
It's true. How about you? Was there a scene that?
it flashed. It was those acorns. Yeah. We were in this house, the house that you see, and it had a tin roof, and we had to do the scene where I have to talk about what I remember experiencing watching my sister die. And it was one of those things that you have to go from 0 to 60. And Trey was there, and just with those eyes, he was listening. And I'd be in the middle of it, and then an acorn would drop on the ceiling. You're like, okay, lost it. Let's start again. And you get like 3/4 of the way through, and then 12 acorns, and you're just like, oh my fucking God! And like you get so remember, it was like a rainstorm of acorns, and I just didn't know. I'd lost it. I envisioned the worst things. I didn't want to, and I just shut down. And then remember John? Out of the blue, John Malkovich comes around the corner, and I'm like, oh God, is he gonna yell at me for like eating up the time? He comes straight to me, puts his arms around me, and just holds me really tight for like 2 seconds. Walks off. Like he knew that I'd shut down, and he just took the shutdown away. I turned around, looked at Trey, and it was just waterworks. And he helped me get back to the place. So it was the acorns of that stupid house that just, you think, oh, I've got it, until you deal with real life. Real life happens while you're working in it.
I love that. I love that that John Malkovich had that moment, that like actor to actor, like I see this thing that you're in.
He and Trey were very similar in that way, that they would be like watching me unravel and just go, I'm right here. Whenever you come back, I'm right here. And you just saw the look in an act, because often you look in another actor's eyes and you get nothing. And sometimes you just go, I don't know what to do, and you're looking at an X on a matte box going, I love you. But when you get it back, it's a little too much. It gives you feels that you really have to keep reining. If you have someone opposite you that lets you be open, that's the greatest gift.
I want to go to some questions from this amazing audience. Here you go. There's some. Let's start with Anna Rabb, who's 10.
Is that you? No.
Oh, there are multiple.
How are you after this? Did it scare you? It did, yeah. So my 9-year-old little boy shouldn't see it either, right? We should tell him to wait, right? Yeah, okay, all right.
Well, Anna wanted to know, what is your favorite type of
Where's
movie to
Anna?
act in?
Where are you? There you are, okay, all right.
What is your favorite type of movie to act in?
Honestly, films that have a little bit of everything, I think. And the ability to really get in the space and do some wonderful work with some wonderful people.
I would say the same. You'd think doing a comedy is more fun. No. It's all about sometimes there's chemistry and a dynamic, and everyone works really well together, and you all want to support each other. And other times you get into things where someone doesn't want the best for you. You can tell that things are kind of off and you're not doing your best work. So anytime that I think a group is working together really well, it's so rare, but when it happens, you come out with the best memories. Even if it's crazy work days, you see a group working together for a final vision, and that's the best feeling. Especially when things are going wrong, how do you come together and figure it out? That's my favorite kind of movie to work on.
Is your gut so good at this point that you can be on set and you're like, yeah, I know this is working?
Not always.
I honestly, yeah, actually.
Because it's so easy?
No.
Said the fluffy white girl.
What was the question again? I'm sorry. I really don't.
This is what working.
I just imagine you're on. There are times when you're on a set and you're like, "This is the best. We're nailing this," and you know, and then maybe it's different. And then whereas I don't know, there might be other times when you're on a set and you're like, "I'm doing my greatest acting ever,"
And then it's
or I'm doing my worst acting, and then it's this amazing thing.
Yeah.
You know, I learned this from Barry, in the sense that if you're just present and you put yourself all the way out there every time, you know, you'll be okay. And so I just try to be as honest as I can with the people that I'm working with and hope that they reciprocate. And when they do, I know that it's good because it's good to me, you know?
You feel it in that moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you can. I've felt things and not seen it on screen. So, and I've had the I've nailed it moment, and then you're like, I am horrible. I don't know what. And then there are moments when you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so angry. I'm failing miserably. And then you see on screen, and a lot of that has to do with a director who's able to catch what he or she needs. In this case, Susanna, and that she's like, no, I only needed that one moment. I'm like, well, which moment? She goes, I just needed that one moment. And I think you can second guess yourself all the time, and you can think you're brilliant, and you're not. And I think that's a pretty gem. But unless you're Trey, and everything is so easy and great.
I just try to have a good time. I just try to have a good time.
Are you actors who like to do like many takes of things?
I hope to get it on the first one, you know. I don't know. I just literally just try to be in this again. Just try to be in the space and be there for whoever we're working with, and hopefully the director will say, all right, we're on to the next thing as soon as possible, you know.
Or Susanna said she'd go, thank you. Yeah. I think we were all like, thank you.
Cynthia wanted to know, Sandra, for you, has motherhood changed the way you approach characters?
Oh, where's Cynthia? Cynthia, darling. I am. Oh, thank you. I am sure it has in the sense that I am very limited in what I can do now. I don't leave home while the kids are in school unless it's for something really special, and where they can come with me for a short period of time. Otherwise, it's summer. So I don't work anymore unless it's about the kids. That might change later on when we're like, it's more fun to leave. But right now, it's really important for them to be where they are. So I'm limited in what I can do. And everything is, I mean, the reason I made Bird Box, my son kept saying, why don't you make something for us? I said, I did, but you can't see it till you're 18. But if this is the ultimate, you know, love letter to your kids, in that I would do anything for you, you know, but they can't see this obviously until they're a lot older. But motherhood has just changed everything. It's made some things really trivial. It's made me very relaxed. In other things, I'm like, it's fine. It's no big deal. Life is, you know. And then things that never affected me in any way on script now have such power over me. So I'm sure it's going to change. You know, once they turn teenagers and they hate me and I hate them, then I'll go off. I'm going to Spain to do Mama's going to Spain to do a movie. But then I'm going to beg them to come with me because I cannot leave them. That's, you know, I'm hoping they become horrible because I have such a hard time. I mean, they were on set all the time. It's like, here's Lila. It's like, Lila, pipe down. She's like, poof. And that's the luxury we have in our business, is that we can make it a familial thing. You have children, bring them. You know, that's what craft service is for.
Red vines.
And a 7-Up. Red vine in the 7-Up.
Of course, yeah. This is a straw. It doubles as a straw. What is something that you both know now that you wish you knew when you were beginning your acting career? That's from Lauren.
Ooh, Lauren's right there.
I gotta think about this. It hasn't been that long, so I gotta think about it.
Do you want me to say something while you think?
Please.
I learned that you are never good at your craft. You will never be great or good at your craft. You will always go into the next job going, I have no idea what I'm doing. And that's actually, I think, a really healthy place to be, because then you're humble, you're open. I know when I get into it and I go, this doesn't feel right, can we do it again? This timing is off, what if we did this and we had an obstacle here, and what if we removed, you know, I would text Susanne at 4:30 in the morning going, this line feels wrong, we need to change it, something about it. But I don't ever feel like I have a full grasp of anything. So I think, but I also like it that way, because then I'm reacting more organically, and so it doesn't feel like, oh, I memorized every piece and I know everything that's going to happen. It feels a little bit more like life, but you're never comfortable. I just learned that I'm never comfortable.
I can ask you a different question,
No,
Trevante.
no. I think I literally just found the answer to that question. Okay. No, but yeah, just being okay with necessarily like failing, I guess, in a sense. That I've been an athlete my entire life, so trying to be the best at whatever it was for the Yes.
Yeah, this man would walk around with a jug of water, and he's just like pure, wouldn't eat that little green thing, and he ate a little piece of, and I'm at craft service with the ding-dongs and the whatever else there is. I'm stress eating because I'm failing on a daily level.
Not.
And he was like with his jug of water and his, yeah. I mean,
Sandy would show up to rehearsals in her workout gear, just coming from the gym at whatever, 6 or 7 in the morning.
Right?
Yeah,
I had
she
a
was.
Nice cut,
She's don't let her fool you.
No.
I think I also read, Trevante, something that you said once, that you felt there were like certain characters you want to play in your life, like maybe like Coltrane. And you said, I want to do that, but I haven't lived enough yet to play this character. And it made me think of Sandra, of what you were just, the question about motherhood, and when it becomes, a role becomes like, yes, I have lived at this point in my life, and now I can play this role. And I was wondering if you could talk about about Coltrane, or if like you feel that, and like when is that moment that yeah, I can play this kind of character?
For me, it's I feel like I can, I guess, feel when I'm going through transitions in my life, in a sense, and it's just life experience, and or getting out and experiencing different areas, different people, having the opportunity to, again, share space with people who you respect and you look up to, and you see how they have and continue to navigate through things. And I think that, more than anything, is for me, just the maturity of my craft and my acting and everything, and learning, I guess, what stability is, I guess. Yeah, I think that's the answer.
And did you ever have that, one of those things of like, I don't feel like I'm ready yet in my life to do this kind of role?
Well, I think I said earlier, maybe I wasn't in this room, that I read the script 10 years ago, and it was really intriguing, but I just go, I don't know, it's not my thing right now. And I insist that they did some rewrites, because it just hit me differently. And maybe they did do some rewrites. It just hit me like I knew what every word or every moment or every loss was. I think the more you experience life going away and loss. And I think loss, if you can get up and still keep moving forward with a hopefulness, it really cracks you open as to who you are. Probably unattractive in your own mind. I just go, oh my God, I'm losing it, I'm falling apart. That's what I like seeing in other people. People who've experienced life, they still get up. They have some cracks, and I go, that's humanity. And I think the more you allow yourself to experience and really experience life, I think as an actor, you can, whether you're saying it or not, it reads on your face, on your body, on the way you carry yourself, on the moments you take. I think you don't even realize it's happening. So I was drawn to it a little 10 years ago. I was drawn to it 100% when I read it again. So maybe that is all life experience. I don't know.
Do you have a Coltrane type role that you're like,
I too wanted to be Coltrane.
Right, okay.
Why not?
Why not? Absolutely.
There is something, I just don't know what that is. I mean, I feel so blessed that I get to do what I do, that I don't like to go to that place of, well, I haven't done this yet, because I've done more than I ever thought I would. But I feel there's something there. Maybe it's not for the next 10 years. I don't know what it is, but it's like something needs to come out of me and be said. But as I said on this film, it's the first time I kept telling Susanne, I said, I feel like a pig, because at a pig roast,
Craft services or other
Yes,
okay.
no, yeah, pig. Yes, exactly. The pig ad craft service. Every part of the pig is utilized. And I literally had one feeling. I went home so satisfied and happy, even though I was frustrated and didn't feel like I nailed it, I said, because every single part of me was used. She used and allowed me to use every part of me. And I really felt for the first time 100% appreciated, rather than just give us that little funny thing you do when you do that thing, or that little emotional thing that we know will be great in a trailer moment. Like, she was like, I want it all, and I want you to be able to give it all freely, and that feels amazing.
Well, it shows on the screen, both of you. Such wonderful performances.
Thank you, guys.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you guys
Thank you
for
all
coming
so
out.
much
Thank
for
you.
coming out.
Thank you.